May has been a busy reading month, and when I say busy I mean concerningly busy, and I thought I was someone who would never ever read like 3 books at once, whether it was 3 paperbacks or a paperback, an audiobook and an ebook, because that just seems like pure fucking chaos to me, and I'm usually not a chaotic human. I have OCD. I'm very concise, calm, collected human most of the time. Yeah, turns out the reason that a lot of people read 3 books at once is because they're mood readers. Now, that might seem obvious, but to me this was the biggest shock of my life, because I was like, I read like on average about 1 book every 4 days. Spoiler alert, I've read way more than that in May. And I was like, didn't think it was slow at all, but I was kind of like, the reason that some books take longer for me to read is because I'm not in the mood to fucking read them. So I was like, okay, let me start an audiobook. And then I was like, okay, let me start an ebook. And then I was like, wait, this is great. I can switch between them. They're all so different because the moods are completely different. So I can read what I like feel like I want to read based on my mood. So basically that's what I've done. And although saying it out loud, like, oh, I read 3 books at once, makes me feel like a fucking lunatic. Because let's be realistic, that's fucking crazy. It's also done really good for my brain. Okay, so we're gonna leave it there. This is where we left off. I was 75% through Funny You Should Ask by Älisa Sussman. Yeah, I think my overall kind of emotions on that book stayed the same. I said this in the last video, the first 25%, I was like, meh, I don't really like this. Then it got better, but I was still a bit, it's okay, it's good, I enjoyed it. It's not the worst book I've ever read, definitely not the worst romance I've ever read, but it's also like, do I like these characters? And the point of these books usually is to kind of like them, even if they're flawed, which is very natural and normal. And the answer wasn't a full rounded yes, but did I still like it? Yes, I did. And was I rooting for them? Yes, I was. So I think in the end I gave it a 4. I'm still pondering on whether I want to keep it or not. Then I finished Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. Listen, I have beef with this book, even though I preferred it to Funny You Should Ask, because what was weird about this book was it was brilliant. Like, it was such a perfect cheesy romance, and you were rooting for them the whole time, and the tropes were interesting and kind of new in the way it was done, and so I really liked it. But then I couldn't help but constantly think about that in the first quarter to a half of this book, the main male character was essentially a fucking bully. And although I will be completely honest and say I've read books where that bully trope is so much fucking worse, so it wasn't the worst of the worst at all, but it just pissed me off. And then this is a spoiler, so if you don't want a spoiler, fast forward about 15 seconds, but in the end they get married after knowing each other for 8 months. And it's like, yes, okay, like, people do that, and like, people are like, if you know, you know, but bitch, I fucking know, and I have a big brain, and the decisions like that just don't realistically make much sense, you know? Like, just financially speaking, because both of these people are supposed to be fucking poor as shit. Like, not poor, but, you know, they're not well off whatsoever, and that's like a part of the plot, it's a part of their story. So it's kind of like, not saying you have to be rich to get married at all, far from it, fucking far from it, but just like, okay, again, this is a spoiler, so fast forward, but they both have two kids, well, one technically by the end, to look after. So it's like, this is just crazy. It just doesn't make sense to me. So that ending made me go, oh crikey, like, oh lord. Because there are a lot of romances where they fast forward like 5 years and they're married, and I'm like, slay, love it. I love a good happy cute ending. This was like fast forward 2 months. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I gave it a 4.5 because I loved the story and the characters, but also he was kind of insufferable for half the book, and at the end it made no sense. So whatever, it wasn't enough to deter me, but those are my final thoughts. I was then gifted Sometimes You Just Need a Pep Talk by Jamie Brockhurst for the London Girls Book Club that I'm part of, and I gave this a 4.5. I really liked this. I needed it at the time that it came to me, but I just like the structure of it. It's essentially like a bunch of like pep talks, and the purpose of it is that you essentially go to read it when you need it. So there are different ones where you can read what you need. So yeah, it was just really good. Like, I read it all in once. I read it all in one, which is why I think I gave it 4.5. I think if I used it the way that it was meant to be read, then it would be a 5. But also, I've read so many fucking like self-help books that they're all becoming the most annoying thing in the world. So the fact it even got over 4 stars is insane. I then listened, because I started listening to audiobooks, to Rich Dad Poor Dad. I wanted to read this for fucking ever because it has like the craziest ratings, and it was really good. I liked it, and I think actually I liked it because I didn't expect it to be so mindset driven. I expected it to be like facts and business, but it was actually like, if you think this way, you're gonna fuck yourself up, basically. So I like that. I gave that a 4.5. Then I listened to The Psychology of Money, which was more the facts and business side of things, but it was still good because I don't fucking know what I'm talking about when it comes to that shit. So I gave it a 4.5. I then read Heart of a Dog by Mikhail Bulgakov. I loved this book. I saw this book on Instagram, and it just looked, I've never seen it before, and I was like, great, a fucking like real recommendation that someone's not just reading for like trend reasons. And I looked up the plot and I was like, great, this sounds like something I would like. Bought it. It's a short story, it's literally like 100 pages, and I just loved it. Brilliant, so good, so fun, 5 stars. Then I read the ebook to Stillborn. I really wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this because I have so many triggers revolving around fertility and pregnancy, which is strange because I've never been pregnant or had kids, but with the context of polycystic ovaries and endometriosis, and it makes sense. But yeah, I wasn't sure how I was going to take this book, but actually it was so good. It was written so well, just so beautifully, and the story in itself was just heartbreaking and warming at the same time, and it's just such a recommend on my end. It was beautiful. I will say, was her name Maria, the girl at the end? I want to fucking slap her. Fucking bitch. And I know it's based off of a real story, I don't give a shit. I have beef with the real Maria, whatever the fuck her name is. Then I read The Visibility Trap by Mary McGill. Again, this was very good, but it was also like, I feel like I've read so many books about this fucking topic that everyone's just starting to sound the same, and it's like, surely someone can say something new. Please, for the love of God, because it's not fiction. These are non-fiction books, so it's harder to be like, oh, I've read this before, but I'm still gonna enjoy this like a romance. It's just, I can't. But I gave it a 4 because it was good and it was very well written. Then I received the ARC for the Dixon Rule by L. Kennedy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the reason I gave this a 4 and not a 5 is because I do not, and I've said this in all my reviews of it I do not love the tropes that she used. It's not even out yet, so I won't spoil it. Or it is out now. I don't know. This week maybe. Essentially, okay, the tropes that she used, there's a lot of X tropes in there. There's a lot of miscommunication. Yeah, I just not for me. The fuckboy trope, not for moi. Not for moi. Not for moi. Not for me. Because I don't want no... Go get tested. No. I am a slut shamer when it comes to men. I'm joking. I'm joking. That's supposed to be funny. But aside from those tropes I didn't like, I really loved this. It was just perfect fluff and smut, and just, if you put it all together, it was just... So apart from that, I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. Oh shit, I forgot to put I finished this. I finished Inquiring Minds Want to Grow by Donna Carlin. Again, liked it, gave it 4 stars, but it's just, like, these things are well written, which is why I give them what I give them, but at the same time, nothing new. Someone give me something new, please. Guys, I'm 20 days into May. This is just ridiculous. Then I listened to On the Line. I loved the concept of this book. And wanted to read it as soon as I saw the cover as well, but I had the audiobook, and the story, like the writing, was incredible and exactly how I thought it would be. It reminds me very much of King Chang, but, and a little bit Ocean Byung, but not so much. But the reason I gave it 4 stars and not 5, and this probably isn't fair, but the narrator, I don't know if it was the author, but the fucking narrator vexed me so much. The amount of times I wanted to pull this man's vocal cords out of my fucking phone and dangle them in front of an alligator, I swear to fucking Christ. He pissed me off. Just the way he read certain things, I was like, I hate this person. I've never met this person and I hate him. So yeah, it felt a bit harsh, but 4 out of 5. I'm currently reading The Paradise Problem, finding it really hard to get into. Again, it's the ARC by Christina Lauren. I love Christina's work, so I'm hating that I'm struggling to get into this one. And it's an ebook, so yeah, but after this I've got the ARC for Knife to read, even though that's already out, but I got given the ARC. So it's like, I really want to read them, and I'm really struggling to get into this one, and I don't want to read Knife first for some reason. I don't know. But then I also listened to $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. This was really good. I gave this 5 stars. This is kind of what I thought the psychology of money was going to be. I thought both books were going to be about what the other book was going to be about. They're very similar subjects, so makes sense. But I just like the way, I think it was read by the author, and I like the way that he got points across and explained things. Yeah, I really like this. I'm currently 50% through Tuesdays with Maury, the audiobook, and Boarded Hearts. I'm about 50% through by Ruth Stilling. I'm liking Boarded Hearts so far. I'm liking Tuesdays with Maury, and I'm also not very far through this Secret Voices by A Year of Women's Diaries by Sarah Griswood. I got gifted this. The only reason I'm not like super fast with this is because it's this big. I feel like this should be illegal, right? But it's really good. So that's my reminder to continue one of my 4 fucking books. Okay, listen, the reason I started reading Boarded Hearts is not just because the ARC review is due in comparison to the Paradise Problem, but because I couldn't get through the Paradise Problem, but I found Boarded Hearts really easy to get through. So I'm probably going to finish the Boarded Hearts today, and I'm probably going to read at least another 10th of Secret Voices. And then tomorrow I'll probably finish Tuesdays with Maury, and I will attempt to get through Paradise Problem. I'm sure it gets better. It's just the first quarter I'm like, ugh. That's how it feels at the moment. So yeah, that's everything I have read in May / reading in May. It's like I said, it's been a bit of a crazy reading month, but your girl has needed it, mentally and emotionally and physically. But I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me. Love you. Bye.